What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt.
So today has just proven just how stupid a lot of people, specifically Nintendo haters, truly are. But first things first, if you're interested in Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch 2 Insight and are not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, thumbs the video up. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section about the topic. So, Digital Foundry today has posted confirmed Switch 2 specs. Now, they state multiple times that this is indeed coming straight from Nintendo. So, assuming what they are saying is the truth, they got this from a developer, and this is official Nintendo technical documentation for the Switch 2. This is what Nintendo official documentation of what Nintendo sends to developers regarding the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, the funny thing about this is that pretty much all of this is old information. This is all things have been discussed already and leaked, ranging from a few months ago all the way to 3 years ago. So almost none of this is new, but people are treating it like it's brand new, groundbreaking information. So as we can see here, this is stuff that we already know. This is stuff that's already been leaked. So we have an 8-core ARM Cortex A78C. The CPU clocks are the same clocks that were leaked by the data miner a few months ago. It's Ampere architecture, 1536 CUDA cores. It's 128 bit memory bandwidth, 120 or 102 gigabytes docked, 68 gigabytes mobile, or gigabytes, gigabytes, I'm right. And here's the only actual new information here, supposedly. So, it's an 8-core ARM Cortex CPU. Now, according to what Digital Foundry has heard, 2 of those 8 cores are reserved. Right? By comparison, only 1 of the 4 cores were reserved for the system. That was unusable by developers. So we've gone from 3 cores available to developers to 6 cores. And under memory, this is confirmed that the Switch 2 has 12 gigs of RAM, but a whopping 3 is reserved for the OS, according to what they're saying. And with the original Switch, less than a gig was allocated to the OS. And a big part of that is because the OS was extremely basic on the original Switch. And it appears pretty basic on the Switch 2 based on what we've seen. But then you have Game Chat, which I guess obviously needs a lot more resources. Now, people are freaking out about both of these numbers. Oh my gosh, 3 gigabytes reserved for the OS. Only 6 cores are available out of the 8 cores to developers. This is horrible. And the reason why they think this is horrible is because for years, Family boards told you that the most that they see the system having locked out to developers was about 1 core and maybe 1.5 gigs of RAM for the operating system. So, yet more people disappointed in the Switch 2 based on another potentially inaccurate Family Board's guess. Just like what happened with 4 and 5 nanometers, right? And we all saw how that played out. So the moral of the story is, don't listen to guesses from Family Boards, probably. But anyway, here's where the thing is funny here. So first of all, regarding 3 gigs of RAM being allocated to the OS, game systems usually will start off with a lot of RAM dedicated to the operating system at the start. And I think that this, if this is true, this is just Nintendo allocating more than enough RAM to the game chat feature just in case. But if you guys have followed what happens, especially with the non-Nintendo systems over the years, the amount of RAM that is allocated to the OS over time actually shrinks, and more is often unlocked and available to developers. So even if this 3 gigs of RAM thing is legit, expect this to eventually come down a bit. Now, the funny part though is when the Switch 2, when these specs leaked, I saw a whole bunch of people talking about, oh my gosh, this is better than I thought. This is actually pretty powerful. But then today, the moment where Digital Foundry says how much of the memory is allocated to the OS and how many of the cores that are available to developers, all of a sudden, these same Switch 2 specs are weak. But let me show you why that's stupid. No, actually, let me show you why that's stupid as hell. Because that doesn't change the fact that these games still look impressive. That doesn't change the fact that there's still games on the Switch 2 that just so happen to even look better than the Xbox Series S version. The funny part is that even with less memory dedicated for developers and less cores dedicated to less developers than you thought, it still managed to look that good. That's not a bad thing. That's actually impressive. And the fact that Nintendo has, according to Digital Foundry even, listed higher max clocks for the CPU and the GPU. So the CPU actually has a max clock of 1.7 gigahertz and the GPU has a max clock of 1.4 gigahertz. That actually means that the Switch 2 can be clocked on the CPU and GPU level even higher over time. And guess what? That's exactly what happened with the original Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch went through multiple clock changes. And none of them got clocked down. They all got clocked up. And there was multiple even different versions of clocks that you could use depending on the games. Like, for instance, Mortal Kombat 11 on the original Switch utilized that, not a max clock, but it was a much higher clock unlock for that game than most other games. So the fact that this chip is underclocked, it's using a lot of the RAM for the operating system. Developers currently only have access to 6 of the 8 cores, and it still looks this good. It's a good thing, you dummies. That just means these games are going to look even better over time. Remember, this is launch. You're looking at unfinished launch games that, even with all of this, still happen to have games that look better than Series S, and you morons think this is a bad thing? All right. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments section.